can't move my feet, it seems as if I'm stuck in the ground like a tree, as if I can't even breathe. All my screams come whispering out, as if nobody can even see me. Like a ghost, sometimes I can't see myself, sometimes then again. If I were a king, if I had everything, if I had you, then I could give you your dreams. If I were giant-sized on top of it all, then tell me what in the world would I go on for if I had it all? Sometimes I feel lost as I pull you out like strings of memories. I wish I could weave them into you, and I could figure the whole damn puzzle out. Then again, if I were a king, if I had everything, if I had you, then I could give you your dreams. If I were giant size on top of it all, then tell me what in the world would I go on for if I had it all? Oh, I could take anything if I had no greed to bear, only the poison that's tainting the clean. Then I'll wait, remembering times much younger than me now, when my bread was light and the world raised me unkind. Be a mother, gone first child, every moment was waking up, but now I've grown tired. If I had it all, you know, but I fuck it up. If I were a king, if I had everything, if I had you, then I could give you your dreams. If I were giant size on top of it all, then tell me what in the world would I go on for? If I were a king, if I had everything, if piece by piece, if I had you, then I could give you your dreams. If I were giant size on top of it all, tell me what in the world would I get up for if I had it all? Had it all. If I had it all. If I had it all. Keep holding on. If I had it all, I'd keep holding on. If I had it all, I'd keep holding on. Hang tight, folks. It's your boy Constance 34. We're getting ready to. Our folks are almost assembled for the live interviews, but enjoy this music. That's it's lagging, but we're gonna get it back on in a second. Bear with us, but we're gonna have a great stream tonight. Got some awesome people coming on. Hang tight.
And very shortly, we'll be getting things underway with the live interviews from people in Phoenix, Arizona. AZ, what up? All right, we're having some technical difficulties with this. We're going to just skip right to the intro. Yeah, we're going to cue the intro. But you guys can watch this. It's on the Dave Matthews Band website, Dave Matthews Band Drive-In Concert, 9/14/2007, West Palm Beach, Florida. It is also live tracks 42. So you guys can enjoy that. But let's cue that intro. We're going to get it popping. DMB Post Show stream starts now.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. What up? It's your boy Conserviz34. Thank you for joining me. Hey, East Coast, y'all up? Is the East Coast up? I'm trying to figure out if the East Coast is up right now. Listen, it's 2:02 in the morning in the Eastern Daylight Time Zone. We about to fall back to Eastern Standard Time, in a couple weeks. So big ups to everyone who is out on the East Coast watching this live or replay. Thank you guys for the support. And so again, my West Coast folks, this is great. You guys don't have to, you're not at a soccer practice right now. Listen, it's 11:02 on the West Coast, so y'all not at soccer practice or y'all not having lunch, right? These East Coast shows sometimes start sooner than the West Coast shows like tonight. And we are in Phoenix, Arizona for tonight. So we're going to have some people come on from Phoenix, Arizona. Let's see who's in the chat. We got DP Duke on the East Coast, Susie DNB, Jessica. Thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate seeing you guys, and I think you guys are going to enjoy our guest. Heinz is on. Heinz says, great Wednesday show for Phoenix. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A great Wednesday show. And we're going to talk about the set list here with some of the people from Phoenix, Arizona. Let's pull up that set list here. Now, Phoenix is a city. Big ups to everyone. Good year, right? Shout out to everyone in Good Year, right? Shout out to everyone in Surprise, Arizona, right? Shout out to everyone in Glendale. What up, Glendale? Not too far, right? This Phoenix show is right by the line of Glendale and Phoenix. Right, big up to everyone up there in Flagstaff. For those who don't know, Arizona, Flagstaff, Arizona is a couple hours north, but Flagstaff actually has a higher elevation than Denver, Colorado, and Flagstaff, Arizona is extremely cold. It is extremely cold. They get tons of snow in the winter. So Phoenix, Arizona has everything. It's got the extreme cold in Flagstaff. It's got the extreme heat in Tucson and Phoenix. Well, shout out to all y'all from the Phoenix Metro. Maybe you're watching this video as you are reflecting on all of the stuff the next day or days after. Maybe you just got back from the show and you're watching this stream. So thank you guys for supporting the stream. Don't forget to hit the like button. I can't say it enough. Got 12 people on right now. If everyone hits the like button, that'll be a lot of likes. What does that do? It gets this video to more people. This is about building a community, having an awesome conversation with everything. And yes, Heinz, we're going to talk about the riff. Heinz says, can we talk about the riff? We will talk about that song. I love it. It is back. We have had 3 plays of it this year. We got Broken Things for a little bit last year, and we got the riff this year. Those are 2 of my opinion, the best crafted songs for not only the studio, but the live performances from Away from the World. Away from the World is an interesting album. There are some great gems, but the riff and Broken Things, I've seen both of those songs. I saw both of those songs within my first 5 shows. I started in 2012. So I was blessed enough to be able to see those songs live very early, and it shaped why I go to so many Dave Matthews Band shows at 41 shows later. A lot of that stuff is shaped why I go to so many shows. So you guys see the set list. I am going to reach out to Jeff, Michelle, and Renee. They have all gathered together to check out this show. And Jeff and Michelle live in Arizona. Renee is up here in the East Coast, but she came out to visit her buddies, and we're going to reach out to them here. And they were close. When I tell you close, let's take a look at how close they were, okay? This is how close they were tonight, okay? Like, I mean, you could almost touch Dave from there. So we're going to get them on the phone We will get them on the telephone here. Let's see. Hey,
Marcus.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we got you, Michelle, and Renee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you got us all.
Well, glad to have all you guys on. And I know the last time I saw you guys was in the Hartford and Mansfield shows.
Yes.
And now Renee has flown out to Arizona.
I did. I'm here, and it was quite an amazing evening.
What made this show so great?
Well, let's just start off with my wristband. So I got the number 21, which is my birthday. And wouldn't you know it, Marcus, guess what number got called?
21?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So I was first in line, which is awesome. So, and I got center rail for us, so we were right in front of Dave the whole show. It was awesome.
Yes, I have a picture that Jeff sent me. It looks like you could almost just grab Dave, pull him down, and say, "Hey, come hang out with us after the show."
We tried. It was frowned upon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was just, we were, it just, everything just went right. It was amazing. The set list, the people around us, the energy from the band, everything was amazing.
That's awesome. Now, this is Buddy's hometown, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
Was there anything chance? Was there any special things he did because of this being his hometown show?
Jeff, you want to come in?
I don't think it was necessarily anything fun. Dave gave him a moment at the very beginning of the show. It was kind of a 2 to 3 minute standing ovation of everybody chanting Buddy. And I thought that was nice that Dave gave him that moment.
And people in the pit had made little individual cards that spelled out his name. So when the band walked out, Dave and Buddy saw it immediately, and they both their faces lit up. And Buddy just looked, just overwhelmed with just pure joy, happiness, humbleness, everything about it was just a very sweet moment to see.
That's awesome. And I think the talk of this show is we have a couple of these songs that stay in rotation. We have He, the third play, the riff, the third play. What was it like to get those those songs that are hard to come by these days at the show?
Well, we are spoiled. Jeff and I were able to catch it at the Gorge. We were able to catch He and the riff at the Gorge, and then drive in, drive out. So Renee, this was her first He, right? It was, and first riff. It was. So how did that feel? It felt wonderful. It was just so awesome, and to be standing right there, right in front of him. It was amazing. I can't really. It was just wonderful,
and the band energy was high the whole night.
The whole night. I was just gonna say that.
Wow.
It really was.
It was spectacular.
They had so many moments where certain members of the band would be jamming out, and you'd look over, and Buddy just had the biggest smile on his face, and he was just, looking at his bandmates with adoration. And then Dave would go over and dance when other people were having their moments, and be pointing at the band members like Rashawn and Jeff that were going off on the horns, and Dave was looking at the audience like, you guys see this too, right? It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And Tim, I just love Tim Reynolds. He's just on fire always, every show. I could just sit and watch him all day. He was on fire.
That's awesome. And speaking of cool, the last shows that we had over the weekend, we spoke with people from Colorado. It was in the 50s and the 60s. Then it went back down to the 50s, and there was mist and there was rain. What was the temperature? What did it feel like in the pit in Phoenix tonight?
Well, Marcus, as they say here in Arizona, it's a dry heat. Mm-hmm. It was a cool 93 when we got to the venue. And
no, it was 100.
It was close to 100 degrees. Let's be honest.
Showtime.
The beauty of the pavilion, the way that it is set up, is that all of the seats and pit is covered. The lawn is actually a pretty spectacular lawn. If you ever get a chance to come out here, the lawn is really a great place to catch a show. But of course, you are in the direct sun until pretty much showtime when the sun sets. It was a little toasty, but you know what? We danced, we had fun, we sang, and you kind of get gross at every show, so why not here?
Gotcha. Yeah, and right, you don't have that humidity. I've been out there to northern Arizona,
Marcus,
Vegas.
let me tell you, I kept saying that, being the East Coaster that I am.
Yeah.
That honestly, the dry heat didn't even bother me because there was no humidity. Yeah. So it was honestly tolerable. Yep. Yeah, and they had fans too. The boys were sweating. Let me tell you, the guys, you could tell it was a little shock to their system, but they did all right.
Yeah, and I really think though that they would rather have it be hot and sweaty than cold. And we saw some of the band members. It seemed like it was a struggle, especially the Jeff and Rashawn with the woodwinds and horns. Those are very as a former clarinet honored band player. I
salute you.
The colder it is, I mean, it can really mess up your instrument. If Boyd was,
if
we had a violin, the violin would probably be a little, almost, in danger of just not being able to perform. So I think it's interesting to see that that change from this weekend to now, and it seems like they were enjoying it. And so drive in, drive out is another one of those rarities. We were all at Mansfield to see the first one. This is the fourth one. How did this song sound? I know, like initially in Mansfield, it seemed like they were working out some of the kinks of the tempo, the rhythm. How did it sound tonight in its fourth play?
We'll turn it to Jeff.
Mark, it's one of my favorite songs. And so I'm never going to say it's not perfect when I hear it. I thought tonight was better than Mansfield. It may have been the fact that we were in the pit, and in Mansfield we were in reserve seating. Right. But Dave had some early audio issues. Actually, they kept adjusting his feedback speaker for probably the first 4 or 5 songs. But I thought it came off flawless, and to the point where when the song ended, Timmy and Dave kind of did a knuckle bump because everybody actually. Then there was quite a few knuckle bumps at the end of that set list because I felt like they timed it perfect to end it.
That's awesome. And we also have in this set list, we have the Ocean and the Butterfly.
Yes.
Which it's 4 plays. If we're looking at this here, it's got 4 plays this year. It had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 plays last year.
Oh, wow.
But only 4 this year. What was it like to get that song?
It was amazing to get that song. If you remember when he did the Sirius show in New York in late August last year, and he talked about how much he enjoyed that song because it's got a little doo-wop vibe to it. Yeah. And being that close, we were spoiled tonight, let's be real. And being that close, watching the joy in his face as he was playing it, you can tell lyrically he enjoys it. Musicality, he enjoys it. Like, it's such a treat to watch them, knowing how much the music means to them, and then for us to be able to hear it. And I will tell you, on the Ocean and the Butterfly, I caught that it sounded like Rashawn was trying out a new horn arrangement on that. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, something totally different tonight than I had ever heard on that song. Yeah.
Interesting. And the other thing we want to know here, this is a Wednesday night in Phoenix. What was the crowd? What was the environment like compared to some of the other shows that you guys have been to?
I thought the crowd, it was a good vibe. I will tell you, it was really darling right before the show was started. Like, the timing. Like, it's not like they're going to start at 7:30. Right. And the venue had music playing. And, like, right before the guys were coming on stage, the venue music was Queen. and it was "We Will Rock You," and like
Yeah.
I have video. The entire pavilion, like the entire audience, started singing along to Queen, and it just kind of set the tone. Like, all right, guys, we're in this together. We're gonna have some fun tonight. So at least for me, I thought that was a good energy.
Yeah, I thought so too. I almost forgot it was a Wednesday show, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was packed. It was, it really was. And yeah, I almost forgot. I thought the crowd was a good energy. The band was, having a great time. It was really, really great. Fun.
And Marcus, I'll make the same comment I think I made to you at the Gorge, that there wasn't a lot of talking in the pit.
No.
It's like fans have realized if you're in the pit, you're there to experience the show and not talk to your buddy next to you or whatever it may be. So I thought the pit again was very respectful.
Everyone was well behaved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Everyone was really great. They were. People were nice around us.
People were excited when songs were coming on.
It was just really, it was good. I would do it again. I would definitely do Phoenix again.
That is, you cannot buy a pit that will be quiet. Across the country, there are so many pits where somebody is just yelling, screaming, it gets quiet, and Dave is playing a beautiful, quiet song, steady as we go. And so, I love you, Dave. Play, whatever song, and it's like,
Marcus, I'm that asshole.
so
I
you.
got on time bomb to him. I said, "You son of a bitch, you're gonna play my song one way or another."
Yeah.
I will say, Marcus, when they played That Girl Is You, there was a girl behind us. Oh, she was so excited. The song, which, mind you, That Girl Is You is one of my favorites. And he kept saying, "That girl is you. What's your name?" And she's like, "My name is Gina." So he laughed. And he got a kick out of it. So that was at least a fun moment versus like, not again. So that was fun.
Gotcha. Well, hey, that's great. Again, that there was a good crowd there as far as respectful and, not talking, and people were all excited. The other thing I wanted to know here, and this is more, I think this is a Jeff question. So we have this poster, and there was some mixed feeling. I mean, obviously, it seems like everyone has different tastes for this for posters and things like that. But what did you think of the poster for tonight?
I think it's fun and playful of our little collection that we have, and it's not very big, and I hope it doesn't get much bigger. They're a little more, I don't say serious, darker, where this one was fun and whimsical, and I felt like it just was something different than anything we had. And I'll be honest with you, it's the first Phoenix poster that wasn't like Dia de los Muertos or something like that, Day of the Dead theme stuff. So I thought it was a welcome change from what we typically see in Phoenix. I thought it was fun. I laugh when I look at it, and it was coming home with us.
That's awesome. Now, how was the crowd for this poster? Was it sell out? Was there a lot of people waiting?
Well, we got lucky because they had a tiny little merch stand right outside of the gate where we were going into the warehouse pit, and we were
number one to get anything.
I think we were the first ones to get a poster, so we sadly and maybe luckily didn't have to worry about.
So I think there might have been a couple left. I know we hit a merch stand on the way out, and they sold their last one to somebody in front of us after the show. It had a small tear in it, and somebody still wanted it. So I think that the poster sold fairly well, but it definitely didn't sell out early on.
Okay, and that's expected with this being Phoenix versus like a larger tour stop, and then also being midweek. It's not gonna do that. I love the instruments here on this one. James Flames, to me it's hit or miss, but I do like more of the realism in certain art. It can be fun like this, but I do like how they have these instruments authentic to scale and size, and you mix in the fun with the little foxes. And sometimes when it's too daydreamy or too abstract, or sometimes if it's too, like you said, too intense, Sometimes those things can kind of make it. You're like, yeah, it can turn you off either way. So I thought this was a great balance.
No, I think it's fun for me if we have all the posters are in Michelle's office. But I think this one just is fun where you can look at it and just kind of smile and be like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's just, I don't know, it's a poster that puts a smile on your face when you see it in person. And that was
Awesome. And so the show ends. Obviously, every show comes to an end. You're wishing, hey, I wish there was another show. Hey, let's have a 7-song encore. So let's start off with you, Renee. Renee, what are you doing next as far as in the world of D&B?
Oh, so next I've got Sound on Sound.
Yes, I'll be there too. So you're gonna go Dave and Tim in a.
Yeah, we got you.
That's awesome. And after that, are you planning to do any fall tour? I know there's the MSG shows and.
Yeah, we're all gonna head. So to Sound on Sound and then MSG. So they can just off for that. We'll all be there somewhere.
So Jeff and Michelle, you guys are going to Sound on Sound too?
We are not, baby. But we are coming out for MSG because why not?
It's Madison Square Garden. That's
why not?
Exactly.
Are you guys sure you're ready for the winter though? That's gonna be, it's to be November, but hey, you never know.
This girl grew up in Connecticut, and Jeff is technically from Omaha, so like somewhere deep down, we're ready for the fall.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see, because every year people come back here for the holidays from Arizona and Florida, and depending on how it is, sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't.
It could be 65 in perfection when we're there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm banking on, actually.
Well, hey, how about you guys go up to? You guys should go up to Flagstaff for a couple of days to acclimatize.
Yeah, we'll do some practice.
All right. And so, yeah, that should be great there. Sound on Sound for Renee. And then for Jeff and Michelle, they'll be coming for MSG in November before Thanksgiving. They have those final fall tour shows there. And all right. So, and we're looking at some of the stuff here from Michelle's Instagram, some of the videos. So we got Dave. Let's see. We got Dave dancing here.
Probably a lot of crotch shots.
Oh, stop yourself. I was focused on his dance moves and his funny faces he makes and just all of that happiness. Like, we have such big smiles on our faces right now. Like, we are happy to.
Did you guys have any sort of moments where it seemed like Dave looked at you, waved, acknowledged you, was singing to you?
Yes, definitely. Jeff is wearing his custom-made time bomb shirt, and Jeff at one point thought Dave was looking at him, so he pointed at the shirt, and Dave actually cracked a smile and laughed a little bit. And then there were definitely moments where Renee and I were like, he looked at us, right? Yeah, he looked at us. I know. And I was like, I was trying to be discreet, and so I would just like kick Michelle in the foot because I didn't want to do a freak out because I'm literally standing directly in front of Dave.
Right.
Yeah. So we definitely got some fun little smiles and some eye contact, which it was a lot of fun. Yeah, and Fonzie too.
And Buddy.
And Buddy. Oh yeah.
I got
Jimmy.
We're gonna be in that close.
Hey Marcus, remember when you got the head nod from Buddy and no, it was in Hartford.
It was in Hartford. Yes.
Yeah, it was in Hartford, and Buddy was up out of his seat on his keys, and he looked over and. Jeff and I both were like, yeah, and he smiled and started dancing some more. So it was fun. We had a funny moment.
So can we we have a photo here, Renee and Michelle, and there's the security guard, and there's chicken tenders or tendies.
Yeah.
So what's going on here? What's the story behind this?
We have this lovely gentleman who is the security guard for Live Nation for the front there. And he is a school teacher who teaches music, and he works for Live Nation, obviously, because school teachers are not respected enough to get paid enough. So, sadly, so we we were like, why not? Let's meet our new friends. So we posted, and there's kind of like an inside joke on chicken fingers and chicken tendies for all the shows and Pitt, so the tradition lives.
That's awesome. And I actually know one of my friends, she's a teacher in Connecticut. And actually when we were all in the pit, she's like, is that you in the Yukon shirt? I was like, yeah, that was me. That's me. So yeah, it's actually, that's a good point is quick commercial. But for those of you guys who are listening, a lot of these workers, they have other jobs, but this supplements them to be able to live and afford with all the things going on with the price increases, inflation. So as much as we get frustrated with some of the Live Nation ticketing things, as far as some of the on sales, the platinum tickets, the staff, I find, not only do I know people personally who work at some of these venues, but they are great. And I will say, if you are going out to shows, listen, I know that the MSG on sale after the warehouse confirmations is going to be crazy, but let's be kind to the workers. Let's, befriend these workers, because when you do talk to some of them, they have some great stories and they are just amazing people that are trying to get a little bit of extra cash to be able to afford. I mean, Phoenix, you guys know Jeff and Michelle, and Phoenix, the Phoenix Metro, people who started their life here 20 years ago, the rent raises, the housing increases in Phoenix have gotten so high that the average local, Phoenix resident can't, they thought they were going to be able to live here for 30 years till they pass. And now many of them have had to relocate, have had to struggle, houses have been foreclosed because of how expensive this world is. So I just say all that to say that you never know who you're going to meet in, when you're at the rail, when you're at your concessions, when you're right at the front of a section and you can see the ushers at the back of a section. And there's some great people you can see. And I know some of them have on their lanyards, the first concert they've been to or where they're from or a fun fact. So get to know your Live Nation crew. I do recommend that for anyone who's going to a show.
Absolutely. And even Marcus, and I so appreciate you saying that. And the folks that we encountered tonight from Live Nation, from the pit line on out, they were just so nice to organize. They really took care of everyone. And even Dave, when, and his fabulous Dave speak, gave a message about kindness and how important it is to be kind to each other, especially right now. So I really, really appreciate that you are sending that message as well.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you guys taking time from Cloud 9 to come back down to us common folk who are not at the show, looking at a set list, or in my case, I was taking a nap because I gotta work tomorrow. But thank you so much for sharing the joy. We can hear it through the phone. I think that anyone who's watching this replay wakes up tomorrow morning here from the East Coast, they're going to be able to get a really great, kind of vibe of what went on tonight.
I agree. It was a fun night, especially for a Wednesday. It was really well done show.
Yeah, it really was. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
Marcus, we love your show, man.
I appreciate it, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad there was no Bayou, right? There was no Can't Stop, okay?
Oh, on a high note, Marcus.
And no You and Me.
What happened?
There's no You and Me. What is it? This is a great show. I mean, this is.
Oh my goodness, it was a great show. We got treated tonight, my friends. We got treated.
All right. Well, hey, you guys have a good rest of your night. Take care.
Thanks, Marcus.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, so we want to thank Jeff and Michelle and Renee. And Renee came from the East Coast to visit Jeff and Michelle. They are Arizona residents. And I had to get that dig in. They love Buddy. They're Buddy Strong fans. So obviously, I love Buddy. I don't like Bayou. I think they should just do the ending jam for 3 minutes, and then that should be it. Louisiana Bayou outro should be like that's modern problems require modern solutions. So That's how I feel about that. So next we're gonna have on another guest. Craig, great to see you. 8 Venue DVDs. Yeah. Craig, great to see you from across the pond. Actually, my friend is on her way. Actually, she's probably in London now. Her and her wife are visiting the in-laws. She married someone from her wife Haley is from the UK. So they're over there at the UK right now. I think they probably just either landed or they're on their way. I don't know, but they are across the pond. So thank you for being up. I know it's a morning, Hines. Let's see who else we got. Rocky Kingdom Music. Pee Wee Herman back in the building. And Jessica, great to see you. Jessica Gerard, thank you guys for being on tonight, late night. Even if you are out west, it's still late. DP Duke was on. Stone drive in, drive out segue needs to become a thing again. I would love that. That would be awesome. That'd be a pretty awesome thing. Obviously, I remember that from the Live Tracks 3. Probably one of the coolest encores you can conceptualize is Stone in the Drive In, Drive Out, Live Tracks 3, Hartford in 2000, night 3. Hines is up here still drinking. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Shout out to Hines. All right, so let's reach out to our next guest. All right, and this next guest, I'm getting some footage here. Looks like he made. I'm taking a look at one of these selfies. See if we can take a look at it because it looks like he made the selfie. Chris. He's in the Be Strong shirt. Let's see. Oh, I see him there. There is Chris. Okay, so let's put this up. He made the selfie. So let's get this up online and then we'll give him a call. I'll put this up on Twitter. Then I'll show you guys so you guys can see this. Let's see. So we'll say one of our guests. All right, we'll put that up on. No, yeah. All right, so. All right, so we will.
Hello?
Hey, Chris, this is your boy Concert Viz 34. How you doing?
Hey, good man. So trying to come off a big high here.
Yeah, we just
take your phone, you know.
We just saw it. I have this on the stream right now. I got your photo.
Awesome.
You got the hat and the Buddy Strong, the new Buddy Strong T-shirt.
Yes. He pointed me out a couple times throughout the show tonight. It was pretty cool.
There's nothing better than the Buddy acknowledgement there. So.
Yeah. No, he's just so man. He's so good. He's done so much for this band. You can just tell they're having so much fun up there, and all together and with him. He's been a huge addition for sure.
Yeah, and just tell us a little about yourself. Are you a local Phoenix resident? Did you fly out for the show? Or?
Yeah, I live here now. I'm originally from near Indianapolis, so I moved out here to Phoenix about 3 years ago. So my first Phoenix show was 2019 out here when I was technically a resident. So and then got Innings Fest in the last show before COVID hit.
Yes,
So,
a great run. The Vegas and then Tempe.
Yes, and I did Vegas the night before that on. So did both of those. So I was fortunate to get. There were only 2 shows, but
Right.
man, it was it was crazy. But he mentioned something about Innings Fest tonight, about the second song of the evening, but I didn't catch it totally what he said. But
Wow. So you were at the Chelsea Cosmopolitan, that very intimate venue, and then you went to Innings. Awesome. So you're one of the rare people then that's been you kind of can have a streak. You went to a 2020 show, full band.
Yes, I did.
So you're
it was very cool because you had a lot of people that didn't have one since 2019 by the time 2021 rolled around. So it was nice to catch those 2, and it was lucky, unfortunate to be living, just a few hours away from Vegas, and then obviously having basically a hometown show there at Tempe. So worked out, but who knew,
Yeah, and just to kind of highlight, you said you're from Indianapolis. I think one of the reasons we've seen St. Louis not really get a show in a while, Kansas City, and Wichita got a show in 2012. So Wichita, Kansas City, we're seeing a lot of Midwest shows get moved.
Yes.
Even like the Pittsburgh show. I don't know if you call that, like, that's just Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Burgestown.
Right. So Western PA. They lost a show, and they're moving shows to places where people from the Midwest and Northeast are moving to. So we get Phoenix again this year. And we get Charleston, South Carolina. We get the most Florida shows I've seen in this current run. So you really illustrate why the band, in my opinion, is starting to cut some of the Western Midwest shows, the Eastern Northeast shows in the Burgettstown, Pittsburgh metro. And they're moving them to places like Phoenix. So it's interesting to hear your story. Just like Jeff and Michelle, you guys relocate from a cold climate to a warm climate, and DMB is right here to follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been nice living out here. Plus, you get to see a lot more unique venues living out here. I'll be at the Hollywood Bowl shows here, Monday and Tuesday night. So super looking forward to that. Never been to that, that historic venue. So that's going to be fun. But this was my 7th of the year and 59th overall. So
wow.
So I just got back from Fiddlers. I was there both nights. Actually, I was in the pit just night 2 of Fiddlers, and boy, that was a good show.
So let's start there. So this show, we heard it's like around 100, dry heat 100 today. When our first guest talked about coming in Fiddlers, it was 50s and some 60s at times. What was the band's like whole energy vibe compared to Fiddlers? What was it like tonight?
I thought it was actually pretty good. I mean, Dave obviously had his full sweat going and everything else, but it was they were actually lucky. It could have been way warmer. I mean, just a few days ago out here, it was probably 10 degrees warmer. So last week. So if they would have had it last week, they would have been really burning up. So, definitely, I think the boys, I thought night 1 of Fiddlers, the boys were just not into it as much, but I wasn't really close to the stage that night, but it just seemed like the energy in it, and like it just wasn't there. But the night 2 was amazing. And then I thought they were back at it again tonight with the energy and the flow. I mean, was it the rarest set list you're ever going to see tonight? No. But there was some really nice songs on there. Anytime you can get a He or the riff or Come On, which is becoming one of my favorite songs. Honestly, that one's catchy, is good. But of course, you still get That Girl Is You and some Sledgehammer action and that kind of thing. But when you're at the show, those are fun songs. But when you look at them, from a distance on paper, they're maybe not as desirable. But it was good. It was a fun time. Good crowd. I was surprised it was as full as it seemed from the pit, just being a Wednesday show in Phoenix,
Right.
But yeah, it was a good time. So I thought it was a pretty cool poster tonight as well from James Flames. So
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. What I like about it is you have the instruments, which really bring that. Like, I love how realistic those instruments look.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Yeah.
And then you have the fun with the foxes.
Yes. Yeah, that was very fun, very playful and whatnot. If I had to critique one thing, if James, if you're listening, throw a little fire dancer somewhere on that dude on one of those drum sets or something.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
So that would be super cool.
Yeah.
But you always like to see a fire dancer, one of those Prince hits somewhere. But,
Right. Or like
no,
a 41 or something, like on the drum on the bass drum, have some 41 or have something else. I will say too, with James Flames, some of his stuff is too fantasy like. And I still think I respect the what he's going for, but I like how this one has the authentic instruments, and it just brings a little bit more. I really like pieces of art that have some sort of realism to them, even though you have these foxes there.
I do too.
So
I almost like a lot of the landscape posters.
Absolutely.
You know, those seem to really appeal to me. But, you know, more than the cartoonish ones, let's say.
Right. Oh, I agree 100%. And that's what I look for, and that's why I like. I don't know if you follow Dead and Company, but Dead and Company, their posters. It's almost like I think they have it contracted that way. Their posters are mostly going to show you the local scenery in the city or the rural part of that region, whether it's the mountains or the prairies or the beach, or like you see some sort of like northeastern or Appalachia like type nature. I love that. That like I will buy a poster every time if they actually show that nature.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I really like those. And you know, like I went down to West Palm, and that West Palm poster that first night was just so vile. And they were hanging 3 copies of it up on night 2, trying to get people to buy it on the way out. It was still that bad. So, but just kind of cartoonish. I don't think people liked it that much. Didn't have anything to do with. Well, I mean, it was kind of like submarines or something. But people come to see beach landscapes or something like that. And it just was kind of not appealing. But that second night with that glow in the dark was kind of cool. But
yeah, I think night 2 was the better one.
Yeah, the night 2. I can't remember the artist offhand. But, but it was pretty cool. But no, fun evening here in Phoenix. Hot in the pit for sure. But yeah, looking forward to Hollywood coming up. Obviously, they got a couple more to get through Friday and Saturday. So
right, they still got to get out to Northern California and then work their way down. And so we got the picture up of you in the pit. Did you think you were gonna make the selfie? Did you kind of? What was your thoughts?
I feel like I had a pretty good chance of getting to the selfie. Of course, you just never know. Right. I mean, whose phone he's going to grab, and then if you kind of get unlucky and get behind him, then you just miss out. You're like right there, but they can't see obviously. So, but I just kind of reached it out, had the long arms. Luckily being 6'3", kind of have an advantage there. But he kind of just subtly pointed at me and walked right over, and I was the first phone he grabbed, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I never thought I'd be lucky enough to have that happen. So
he grabbed your phone.
He grabbed my phone. Yeah, he took my phone. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I just saw the picture and I'm like, oh, maybe it was someone else. Oh, that's your wow. That is
he literally took my phone. So yeah, only however many pictures he takes a year and everything. There's only maybe 100 of us, or whatever.
And
a couple hundred that do that. So it's pretty cool. So we've all been talking about it. We're at kind of one of the bars, just hanging out, talking about the night, trying to calm down, I guess, if you will. So, but yeah, definitely cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say there. I mean, I know you've been to your fair share of shows this year. There's been some shows where he's not even taking this. It's just random, It is. It's the luck of the draw.
He didn't do it at West Palm either night. That I recall. I'm almost 100% sure on that because I looked down both nights and never saw him take a phone at all. So
I think that was the last time because all the fan groups. If someone comes back from West Palm and that's their first show, and they're like, "Why didn't Dave take the selfie?" And I get it. Like you're
Right.
you're in the
That would
pit,
be
you're in that
super
spot.
frustrating.
But I do
Yeah.
remember the chatter on DMB Family and Facebook, and
Yeah.
someone just put that post. No, he didn't take the selfie, and everyone, all the comments below. So yeah, that's special. Like
Yeah.
you said, that this year it is not only does there are limited selfies, but he's not even taking selfies. I think there were some other shows at the beginning of the year. He just didn't. They had, someone, I think it was Dave, but someone had C19, and I think they had stopped for a bit. So that is awesome. It is a special thing that you can keep forever.
It's super cool. It's really, we ought to be really super thankful as a fan base that he he takes those selfies and stuff, because they're definitely really cool mementos, to have, and get those pictures made or whatever.
Yeah,
save them. That's really cool. I can't think of more than maybe one or two bands that might ever think about doing something like that. So that's pretty neat that he does that, for us and whatnot. But I got to wondering if he didn't do it in West Palm, if he was just like taking an extra precaution, maybe a COVID precaution before he got to the gorge or something, or coming up. I know he had to get through Lake Reno, Lake Tahoe before that, but maybe he was just being ultra cautious since they had so many issues at the gorge last year. I don't know. That was what I was thinking in my head, but who knows?
Yeah, it's there's so much in these times. There's so much to speculate what's going on with the band and what they do, and
absolutely.
And it felt, I don't know if you felt this going to West Palm Beach. Some people were commenting. It felt like, and this is just I get a lot of people who message. I try to get their opinions, but some people felt like they were almost like. They felt like they were just trying to get through the West Palm shows and get out of there.
Well, I kind of felt that way about the first night. Of course, I had been chasing Cry Freedom for, obviously I'm at 59 shows, so that was like 56 show, I think. But I finally heard it live in my 56 show that night. So, that night too is pretty special, just, hearing that alone. And he still hasn't played it again yet on this tour.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't believe when he started playing that, that I finally got that. But, but no, I mean, but it was definitely, you would think after people, and I went twice because I went back in May, and then went back again, and I'm sure I'm not the only one by any stretch of the imagination that traveled in twice. And I'm just like, man, Dave, really bring it, play play 34, just some of these, songs, just whatever. But it was definitely pretty decent sets overall, and I thought night 2 was pretty cool. So
I think night 1 was definitely like, that was a show, like if you just went to night 1, you'd kind of be like, oh no. But night 2, they definitely brought it for night 2. But people were, just a couple people that I talked to, it felt like, even take away the set list, they felt like the band was like, and listen, they were supposed to have a break. They probably had plans with their family.
They did probably,
but they said they felt like the band was like, oh, we got to do these shows. Oh, like it just felt like they definitely had energy. They had things, but that just felt like that vibe. And I've seen that with some of the other, I think that was Orange Beach, Alabama. They rescheduled some years ago, and like that they left the venue. Like people were saying, they just like fled out of there, and they wanted to get back to their family. So they're human.
It's tough. I mean, that'd be, people always ask what you'd ask Dave. I did those set lists. I'm just curious how he really writes them. What all the mindset. Obviously, I've heard, we all hear bits and pieces of the process of it. Looking at venue history and maybe what you played last show and all those kind of things. But those kind of things are cool. But all in all, though, I'm just thankful they're touring and they're putting out all this good energy and the shows are good and it's fun to travel around and see all your friends and meet awesome, amazing people. I've met so many amazing people here in the last 4 or 5 days between Colorado and the Phoenix shows here that, that's what it's about,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's about the people. And I'm looking forward to getting to Sound on Sound, Dave and Tim, to catch up with some people. And then hopefully all goes well, the MSG, depending on.
I went to MSG last year, so you definitely need to go. I made a decision today that I'm going to actually go back to Indianapolis a day before the Chicago shows, and I'm going to go up to Chicago and then go over to near Dayton, Ohio for those shows this fall. So
Okay.
But yeah, I'm gonna probably not do MSG this year, but man, last year that was so cool. Just being that historic, arena is really something.
Yeah, I got a Billy Joel image, like Madison Square Garden. I'm from Connecticut, still here, and Madison Square Garden is the arena. It's my favorite arena in the world. I have a Billy Joel poster from MSG looking straight in front of me. I was at the night 2. I had my first What You Are. At that point, it was like 31 shows, I think. I had been chasing that song. And I've seen my favorite basketball team, UConn men's basketball. The Huskies, they beat Michigan State, which I'm sure if you're a Hoosiers fan, you're happy.
I am.
We beat Michigan State.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't like the Spartans.
Yeah.
So
we beat Michigan State in the Elite 8 to go to the year we won our last title in 2014. I was there for that game at MSG.
Very nice.
It was just, there's no better spot to watch I've been to some Knicks games there.
Yeah. Of course, I grew up a Pacer fan, so you probably don't like Reggie Miller very much, but I remember those 8 points in 8 seconds there at the Garden too.
Well, see, I'm a Sixers fan, even though my dad's the Knicks fan. That series, I was a kid when that happened. That series hurt his morale. And then obviously they've had some other tough series. Yeah, but that Reggie, that was one of the most clutch performances of scoring a bunch of points in a little bit of time back when he was messing with Spike Lee and really.
Oh man, he and Spike, boy, they love that. Yeah, they did.
So, all right. Well, any other final thoughts? Any other kind of takeaways from tonight as someone who goes to a lot of shows and travels the country?
It was we were talking about the show, and it was great. I mean, these are always fun to go to when you're there. I've been guilty of looking at home and you see what the set list is or whatever, and you're probably going, oh man, they're just playing Jimmy Tank or they're just doing this or that. But when you're there, you catch all those vibes. It's really good, and it was a solid show for a Wednesday night in Phoenix. It was a very solid show. I mean, we got a nice The Maker as well tonight, so that was nice to hear. In fact, I had never heard that full band live somehow in 59 shows. I had only heard it at I had looked on the Ants marching or on the Ants, but I had only heard it Dave and Tim play it at the Standing Rock event that they had back in 2018 in Washington D.C. So that was the only time I'd ever even heard that. So that was pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, when they were standing for Standing Rock. Oh wow! Yeah. So 59 first full band Maker, and that's why we chase the shows. You can go to 5 shows and get that, but then you go to 20 more shows. You have stuff that other people don't have, but that's what makes the travel worth it. Is you're always, even if you don't get what you want, you get to meet people, and then sometimes those moments like me last year, What You Are, my first time ever, I was going nuts at the Garden. So it's just an awesome thing to be a Dave Matthews Band fan. And as you said,
it is.
If you're the reason I do this show and the reason I call people after the show is you can see something on paper, but when you talk to people on the ground,
it's way different.
It's different.
Is 100%. Yeah.
So
it was a fun vibe. Absolutely. It was a very, very fun show. So, but well, thanks for having me on, Marcus. I appreciate it. I watch all your shows, catch up on things if I miss them on YouTube or whatever. But,
I listen, I appreciate the support, and I'm so happy that we're all having these great conversations or over the phone or over the chat, or even if people who don't comment but enjoy it. It's awesome to see us all come together and look at these shows and have this, just like you said with sports, there was no post-game show for us DMB fans, and that's just what I'm trying to create. So thank you so much.
I love it. I love your concept, having a post-game show. Fans get to talk about what all went on and everything, and it's really cool that you have all of us on here and talk to you. Yeah, this is really neat. So keep it going for sure. All
right. Well, hey, enjoy the rest of your time out there at the bar, and
absolutely, will do.
And best of luck with the confirmations for the fall tour.
Thank you. Yeah, same to you. So
all right, appreciate it.
We'll talk to you later, Marcus.
Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.
Yeah, good night.
All right, so that was Chris Dubois, and again from Indiana and lives in Arizona. And I always listen. That's outside of music. I love the idea of seeing seeing the different demographic moves and population shifts in this country. And I think that while I don't have any sort of inside information, I think this band is looking at that. Now, again, a Phoenix, Arizona is never going to be a 2-night stand while this band is still around. It's just not possible. In 20 years, I think you'll see that the Phoenix Metro may continue to get more love and more because there's just so many people live out there. But I just think it's interesting to see where people are moving to, where people are migrating to. People are going to different parts of the country, like Idaho. And Nampa, Idaho is a Boise suburb. And you're seeing people move around. And I think bands are going to try to tap into certain markets to see what it's about. I know people are like, how do they have a show in Boise and this random Ohio show? And it's not even like Columbus. It's outside just the Dayton. It's in the Dayton metropolitan area. But I think there's a lot of data out there. And, all of our callers today, none of them were born and raised in Phoenix. Renee's visiting friends, which is a common thing. People go out to Phoenix and they go golfing with family members, relatives. I have some coworkers in Phoenix and their sons, their nephews, their brother-in-law, they come out to golf or they come out to kick back and do different things in Phoenix that you can't do in the winter in Chicago. So this world is changing. This country is changing as far as where people are deciding to live and create shop and what's growing and what's decreasing. And yeah, it's just really cool. I think it's really cool to see how people move and change and the trends, and it's impacting the shows. I mean, there's no Pittsburgh shows this year at all. I feel for the Pittsburgh fans that are out there. I don't like the Penguins. I don't like the Steelers. Although I actually no, I don't like the Steelers, but I love Mike Tomlin. I will say that as my Patriots play the Steelers this weekend. But I do feel for many of you guys that were in markets that used to get, many shows, and now you may not have any shows. So there you have it. Want to get to a cool thing? Check your boy out on Instagram, Twitter, and Instagram. But I have a pretty fun. Let's see. We're gonna go to Instagram here, and let's take this. Chris is off, so we're gonna take that off. I want to go to my profile. I made a little song. Some of you Twitter folks, Jen and Hines, I don't know if you guys saw this on Instagram, but I want to play this little clip for you guys here. All right, let's play it. Does not mean you got the tickets. Half the fan base put in requests to see DMB at MSG. You are too smart. Don't be dumb and celebrate before the emails reach your inbox every freaking year. It happens. This is getting so old. You don't have tickets yet, fool. Wait until the email comes. Then be on sale and then cash or trade. This is getting old. You go through this every year. You don't have tickets, it's a pending charge. You don't have tickets. You don't have them. For real, you don't. Just wait it out, people. It's almost over. That was a little funny, little two-step cover talking about pending credit card charges. So what does this mean if you guys have not, if you're not familiar? The warehouse ticketing process, you put in requests for various shows, and what happens around this time, now we're all going to know by, I would say, Sunday. Usually we find out on Saturday, Sunday morning is very common. The on sale is this upcoming Tuesday, right? So what happens is the band has different charges to everyone who put requests in. Not everyone gets a pending charge, but your credit card or debit card will have a test charge from the warehouse, just to make sure they can pull the funds, just to make sure there's not any fraud involved. They kind of do different checks. So you will see a certain amount, and sometimes that amount adds up to, oh, wait, if I got this amount on my card, that means I got the pit for MSG or one of the shows, and I got uppers for another show. You can almost look at it. But these pending charges will disappear. They will reappear. Hines says, I personally have never had a charge disappear. Some people have not. But I will say, living in the Northeast, there is a lot of, at least for me, when I'm going for some of the harder things like SPAC and all that stuff, you will have some stuff appear and reappear. I actually personally will do everything I can to not look at my account status. I paid all my bills, okay? I paid all my bills. And so I paid them all in advance. Anything that I would have had to auto charge or look at, I have everything in case something's going to auto draft. So I'm not, I don't need to do anything on my online banking until Monday or Tuesday of next week. That way, intentionally, I'm not going to look. So yeah, some people get it, some people don't. But essentially what happens is people get that pending charge on their credit or debit card, and they think they have tickets. And many times the morning of the confirmations, when you know if you're approved or you're denied or you're accepted or declined, it will magically go away. It just depends. Everyone has different experiences. But what I will say is, do not, especially for MSG, okay? I know everyone wants to get to it. That's probably the most requested. MSG Night 2 is the most, I would guarantee you, is the most requested night. MSG as a runner are the two most requested shows. That's what I would say. Because it's just so popular. There's no East Coast. But just be patient. Wait it out. Okay. Wait it out. Keep your hotel. If you have your free cancellation hotels, keep those hotel rooms. And then just see what happens. If you don't go to the on sale. If they don't go, wait it out, budget what you can, and figure out if you can still go, or based on the secondary market. And it is hard. MSG is going to be hard. Now, if you're not at MSG, Seattle may be a tough ticket too. But Chicago, like even Chicago's arena is so big. The United Center, it's one of the biggest arenas in the country. For hockey, it can hold 20,000. Basketball easily clears 20,000. So for arenas, it's going to be one of the. I think the United Center is the biggest arena on the tour. Just off the top of my head, as a kid, I actually used to look up venue capacities. I'm a nerd like that, a venue nerd, and some of it has to do with sports. I used to love seeing in the video games and on TV, looking at. Part of the enjoyment of watching sports is being able to see the different arenas and stadiums. So yeah, United Center is a huge arena. So you're going to have like a lot more seats. Now, P.U. Herman says they're going to put you at the back of the venue. Yeah, the warehouse. Now, what I'll say is this. What they say, warehouse going to put you at the back. What I would say is this. Now, for Mohegan Sun, okay, there's no Mohegan show this year. An intimate venue like Mohegan Sun or SPAC, I just request, and whatever I get, I get. I was literally in the second, like one of the last rows in SPAC. I think it was like there was only one row behind me at SPAC in the balcony. I don't care. It's such an amazing venue, and it's such an intimate venue that the last row of SPAC is closer than some of the upper pavilions at other venues as far as how you feel. So just be careful. Like, for instance, I would not put in the warehouse if you're not going to Chicago. If you're not going to Chicago, MSG, or Seattle, I really wouldn't put a warehouse request in unless you want that ticket, right? because they do sometimes put you at the back of venues. But listen, if I get into MSG, I'm gonna take. I know the warehouse. Listen, like, all right, we're gonna put concert bids in the back now. He said he just wants to get in, but for real, like, I just want to for MSG night 2, which is the only show I requested. I just want to be in the venue. I'd prefer to be closer, right? I'd love a lower level 100 seat if the warehouse folks are listening, right by the stage side. But I think that sometimes you think you need to put a warehouse request in, but you're better off. Like I said, Minneapolis, I would wait until the on sale, and I'd even wait till after the on sale, because a lot of those tickets, people like, that's going to be a show that there's going to be tickets available in one way or another. People are going to be selling tickets to Minneapolis. Like, that's just how it is. Where MSG is going to be a tougher ticket. People who have a ticket are more likely to keep that ticket. People may try to sell uppers to MSG, but especially night 2 is going to be harder. So, yeah, I just, I use the warehouse a lot for, like, for instance, this is what I use the warehouse for. I use the warehouse for, first of all, the Gorge. The 2 years I went to the Gorge, actually, I didn't buy them all 3 nights. At least one of the nights I like to have that warehouse ticket, right? And so I have a warehouse ticket from one of the 3 nights, both Gorge weekends I've been to. But even at the Gorge, I get tickets there. There's no reason. Like, even on StubHub, people were selling like lawn tickets on StubHub after fees well below face. I think I paid like $20 for my warehouse ticket last year from the StubHub ticket. And that I could have went up to someone and bought it from them, but I just was like, hey, it's right here. I'll just buy it on StubHub. You know what I mean? Like, and if I wanted a closer seat, I probably would have bought that from a fan. But yeah, like, the point is, I use the warehouse just to get a commemorative ticket for the Gorge. The 2 years I've went, MSG, SPAC, sometimes Mansfield, right? And sometimes Hartford. But actually, sometimes most times Hartford. A lot of times for Mansfield, I don't even put in for the warehouse. Maybe I'm giving away too much game. Everyone's going to request the same stuff. But I don't request for certain shows because tickets pop. Like the Mansfield shows, which always get great crowds, there's always a bunch of single tickets that you can pick up in the lower mid pavilion, right? Or the front of the upper pavilion, which I consider like mid pavilion at any other venue. You can always pick up something there. Oh, we're talking about Goldeneye. So here's my thing. Pee Wee Herman, I want you to chime in. So Nintendo is remaking Goldeneye. In my opinion, Perfect Dark is literally just a better version of Goldeneye that had most of the maps from Goldeneye. And I wish they would have remade Perfect Dark because you would have had all the maps from Goldeneye. I still do not, I guess I do understand this, but back in the 90s, and some of this I think was older, like some of you guys were just older than me. I was born in 1990, so when Goldeneye came out, I was 7 years old, 7 years old. Okay, we started with Goldeneye, probably one of the most revolutionary first-person. Yeah, I would say the most revolutionary shooting game of all time. I will give Goldeneye its credit. It changed the game. Even though we look back now, and I think what's going to happen with this simulation, we're going to look back at this Goldeneye, depending on how realistic it is, we're going to look back like, oh, that was cool, but this game sucks now. Because at the time, it was just revolutionary. But what they did is, after Goldeneye was such a success with the James Bond name, the same studio, Rare, they then worked on Perfect Dark with twice the crew. They had twice the people working on Perfect Dark as they did Goldeneye because of the success of Goldeneye. And Perfect Dark, while a little bit more sci-fi, allowed you, especially in multiplayer, so many more options. It used the expansion pack. Remember the expansion pack with the little red tip? It had the expansion pack, and you could play some of the stuff without it, but if you wanted all the modes, you needed the expansion pack. But what they did is they built on Goldeneye and they made a better. It almost reminds me of Before These Crowded Streets and Crash. Crash is an all-time great album. Anyone else, if they had Crash in the catalog, it'd be their best album. But Before These Crowded Streets is why D&B is where it is now. They got the success of Under the Table Dreaming and Crash. And then Before These Crowded Streets was even a whole nother level better. So to me, Perfect Dark was far superior. Now, the reason why people like GoldenEye more is because of the nostalgia. And also, I believe some of the people, if you were 12, 13, 14, 15, when GoldenEye came out, by the time Perfect Dark came out in 2000, you were no longer interested maybe in that N64. You were getting ready. Dreamcast had come out in 1999, right? And then PS2 came out in 2001. Or no, in 2000, right? The fall of 2000, PS2 came out. But for me, as a kid who was younger, I was 10 in 2000. That's why I wasn't at those D&B shows, those legendary Riot shows, right? I was too young. But my point is, Perfect Dark had Hines. I'm going to play that video I made of you in a second. But Perfect Dark had the multiplayer in Perfect Dark. Not only did it have more modes, you could have more preset custom weapon packs. It had more modes. It had a golden gun type gun that you had on there in Perfect Dark. It just couldn't be the golden gun because of licensing, right? And Perfect Dark had AI. So even if your friends, and listen, Perfect Dark's AI to this day is the hardest AI you're going to play in a game. They literally made, like, there's actually a dark AI. Talk about dark D&B. It literally, they have 100% accuracy. So even if your friends were not there, and if you had Perfect Dark, you could play against AI that was the hardest of its time. And to me, still the hardest AI that I can think of in a shooter. Because like the Halos and all that other stuff, even Legendary and Halo, like, and yeah, they had in Perfect Dark had all those mines, proximity mines, land mines. They had a gun that, now again, they had some sci-fi stuff, but again, it was a better version of, and also, you know what was better about Perfect Dark? You didn't have to go on your watch to switch weapons. There was the first real shooter I remember where you hold down A and you could push up, down, left, or right and choose a weapon like that. Yes, in paintball mode. Yes, Pee Wee Herman knows. Yeah, Perfect Dark was and again, it had, if you had the expansion pack, you could play all of the gold. I think most of the GoldenEye maps you could play on Perfect because they were the same studio, so it was the better one. People hold on. The Craig and Hines and on Twitter, we had some debate, fun banter. It almost got serious. I think we were almost about to get into a fight. We were all about to fly out somewhere and start fighting. I'm kidding. But like, Perfect Dark is far superior. And I get the sci-fi part of it, but you could if you played multiplayer, you could take away those alien type guns and those kind of cheap guns. They had a gun that could shoot through walls. Oh, and Perfect Dark had the rocket launcher. The cool thing about that, they had a rocket launcher. You could control the missile from the rocket launcher across the map. So you could make it turn across corners and stuff. And it was just a fun game that you could have this rocket launcher that you can control the missile. And again, if you thought that was too cheap, you could do it. And the throwing knives and the disarm. You could disarm people too. Yes, GoldenEye was the first game you could do something to friends, which I won't say for the algorithm, but yes, you could. But anyway, both great games, both changed. I mean, I think N64 without GoldenEye would have been interesting because PS1 was really like the cool system. Nintendo had this weird controller, but GoldenEye and Smash Brothers really were two big games for. Why is my computer asking for this? I hate this. Okay, let's take a look real quick, and we'll get to the Jen and Hines thing. Hines, I made a song because we have these fun debates, but you really can't tell Hines anything. So you just have to say, listen, fine, Hines, you're right. You're right. Fine. We get it. We get it. I get it, bruh. But no, and listen, Hines and all our fun. Listen, Hines knows. I'll say this: Hines knows his DMB from 2010 to present, from Wrigley Field, 2010 to present. He knows his DMB. You cannot knock him on that. Just some of his stuff, you're not. Lord knows he's not going to change. There's certain things he's going to believe in, and it is what it is. And okay, so let's listen to this song. This is just a little satellite. By the way, I need to sharpen up on my satellite playing. I fell off. I used to be able to play. It's so hard to play and sing. But anyway, here we go. This is called Hines is Right.
Hines is right, never wrong. He won't listen to valid points of why fish is better. Hines is right. Don't waste time trying to give valid reasons that fish is better than penny. Maybe Jen can understand why that fish is the ultimate champion. She would even listen to what we have to say. Not Hines today, he won't listen. Hines is right. Rest high above the...
I totally messed up that build up at the end, which is just a scale. Craig, I stand with Hines. He says,
What are you doing? What are you doing?
You what?
He stands with Hines. Oh, man. Ah, man, people think Goldeneye is better than Perfect Dark.
Oh, no.
That's what I think. But anyway, that is a show for tonight. I think that's all I needed to go over. That was it. Good show. Like I say, I think Hines said it. Great guest. I really appreciate it. I do have I do have at least one person for the Hollywood Bowl. And then Irvine, I need to talk to Aria. But we do have some upcoming shows. If you are going to the shows this weekend, the Friday, Saturday shows, Chula Vista and Mountain View, please let me know if you want to be on. We would love to have you on those shows. It is 3:20 a.m. and I am going to, let's see, what was I going to close out with? I had something set up. I just can't remember what it is. Hey, we'll end with this. We'll end with this. We'll start how we ended. Yeah, we'll close out with this. It'll be real quick. You guys can listen to the end of this. But thank you, guys. Again, I cannot say thank you for the support. Hey, listen, people were loving that little two-step thing I did today. Thank you for the support on IG, all my IG folks, the Twitter folks, Hines, Craig, all you guys. I really appreciate you guys for the support. Tell your friends, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Oh, Craig's at work. You know, it's funny. Sometimes, depending on my task, sometimes I listen to music or I listen to some YouTube streamer. So that's funny. You're listening to me at work. He's over across the pond in the UK. So he's at work listening, and I love to see that. And sometimes in the morning too, depending on what I'm doing, I'll listen to some streamers recap some stuff, sports, other topics, and so I appreciate you. And this is that. Hey, listen to your boy while you're doing work if you can. Some people can if you're on phone, things like that. But again, I really appreciate the support. Let's listen to the end of this. And this, If I Had It All, to me is 07. This is the band is at a very pivotal part in their career. Roy would get in the accident the next year. And this is just an amazing performance. This is an amazing show. A Dream So Real opener. But some of the stuff, just some of the intros and outros and extra stuff they did for a show like this, West Palm Beach Night 1 in '07, was amazing. So we'll close out on this. This is just DMB at its, and this is why I say the band, I will never listen. I still go to shows. But I will say there are some things this band will just never touch again because you don't have Leroy, because you don't have Boy. Now, there are some things that they are doing that Buddy Strong can only do for this band. There are some things with Tim and Rashawn. There are some things that actually, like You Might Die Trying. Hines, I know that's one of your favorite. I think You Might Die Trying could only get to where it is now with the current iteration of the band. Sure, Leroy Moore was amazing, right? Sure, the band in 05, 06, but there's just a whole nother level that when you listen to the Fiddler show, I know Hines was at the shows. And the last thing I know, I keep saying I'm in the show, but I will say again, in Hines, Jen, who else was at the Colorado shows? We had John on. John was on for the shows. We had Aunt Karen and Jessica. You know, there was some chatter, and Hines, you can feel free to chime in. There was some chatter that people who weren't at the show in Fiddlers this weekend were like, these sets were not as good. And listen, I understand on paper how that can be, right? I understand on paper, okay, this, like they didn't play Break Free, Break Four. There was no Shotgun, but the people that went to the shows at Fiddlers were so excited. Yeah, My High Dad was there. And I think this is why I say tune into this show, because you're going to get perspective of people who are there. And also, yes, listen, it was extremely cold and rainy, right? But I think, and listen, everyone has the right to their opinion. I'm not saying, like, listen, you could look at the shows on paper and say, okay, they didn't have certain things. But, you know, it's very important to really get perspective from people who are at the shows, because even if you're not there and you'll never be able to go to that moment because you weren't there, people are, when you're at the show, in the pit, in the lawn, at your perfect spot where you know the sound is right, in the uppers, the mid pavilion. Some of these shows you have to be there to really, and I know that's one of those things people, you gotta be there. But some of this stuff when you're there is different. Yes, Connor was on as well, right? But, you know, people were kind of saying, hey, listen, from a setlist perspective, one of the weaker nights, and night one was over. But they had the riff. You had some special things. You didn't have Can't Stop and Buy You, which I anyway. But all the jokes aside, I think just really this is why I made this show, because even I was, listen, if you go to my old clips, I was player hating on certain midweek shows, but now we get the calls in from people here. I was like, this venue, look at that set. Even listen to a show, get some clips. It's not that. But when you get the perspective from people who are there, a lot of the people that come on this show, like a lot of them are going to a lot of shows. So they know they were at SPAC, they were at Fiddlers, they were at this show. So they even have that wherewithal to be able to say, yes, I was at this other great date, but this show was special because X, Y, and Z. So anyway, I say all that to say, I'm out of here. It is almost 4 a.m. The sun is about to come up on the East Coast, and you guys enjoy your night. We'll end off with the end of If I Had It All from West Palm Beach, night 1, 9/14, 2007. Peace.